Hey y'all, hey. I'm Megs, the owner and founder of Too Sexy. I'm sure you're wondering what that is, but I'm excited to be here with you for the next little bit this evening. So let's go ahead and first go ahead and debunk it, figure it out. You're probably thinking, what the heck is too sexy? Well, it's very simple. So long story short, basically we help people show up for their very best lives through and building confidence through movement. It is that simple. Confidence in motion. And so tonight we're talking about how we can accomplish big results and see results of in our lives through very small habits. I mean, let's be real. We all want to accomplish something, whether for the year, whether for this month, maybe you have a 5-year plan, or maybe you just want to get through the day. Whatever it is, we are here and accomplishing and working towards something. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? But before we dive in, let's go ahead and make sure we got your water. Hopefully, you saw water. And we do fancy over here. So put it in a fancy glass. And if you're extra fancy, because it might have been a hard day, it's already been a hard year, let's be real, add some fruit, cucumber, lemon slice, something. I've really been into frozen cherries. I never thought I'd do a lot of different things in water to spice it up and keep it, keep it a little risky around here. And never have I thought to do frozen cherries, but it's definitely been my jam recently. So whatever it is, grab your water, get comfy. I'm also going to ask you to grab a pen and paper because you're going to want to jot down a few things that we chat about tonight. It might be aha moments. It might just be a good reminder. But also, I'm going to ask you to write a few things down that are relevant in your specific life because you came here, right, for relevance to you. And I want you to walk away with a plan that you can put into action now, tomorrow, tonight, right? And so I'm going to ask you to write a few things down. So while you're grabbing that, I do want to also go ahead and put us all on the same level playing field to say we all have rough lives before we came here tonight, right? Whether you got kids and you're attending to them, whether you had a hard day at work, or shoot, like I said, it's been already a hard year to say the least. We don't have extra mental capacity to do all the deep dive, so we're going to keep it really simple. Hence, you're tracking, keep it simple, sexy. It's all about keeping it simple. And that's what we're doing tonight. Because what happens when you start showing up, even in the smallest ways, that's when you'll see the results happen. So we're not overcomplicating things tonight. Because if you think about it, we're what, 5 weeks in to the new year? Almost 80% of people have already stopped showing up for what they set out to accomplish. Isn't that wild to think about? In fact, it's such a phenomenon, if you will, that they've deemed January 19th as Quitters Day. Because by January 19th, 76%, almost 80% of people have already stopped showing up for themselves. They've lost the motivation. They've, not seen the results that they wanted, whatever it is. And hey, let's be real. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's why you're here tonight. But it doesn't have to be. We're flipping the script on that. And we're making sure you walk away with a few key things so that you can show up and actually see the results. So tonight, hopefully you've grabbed your pen and paper by now, got some water. We are going to talk about 4 key points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, get your notebooks ready to help you build momentum towards your goals. And this is going to be relevant for if you're starting out, if you're restarting, if you just need a little momentum to get through the week, or if you just need a reminder, right? Sometimes it's good just to have a reminder. So if you would, little plug, if you would, cheers me, totes. Cheers to keeping it simple, sexy. With that being said, we are on social media at Two Sexy Movements, and if you would take a little shot, a screen or screenshot, a picture, and cheers me. Tag Two Sexy Movements, and or also use the hashtag Keep It Simple Sexy. Would love to know your takeaways from tonight, etc. But at minimum, would love to follow your journey and support you any way that I possibly can. Speaking of social media, right? What do we see when we scroll social media? Am I the only one who gets caught up scrolling? And it's hard because what we see is perfection, right? We see the highlight reel, perfect everything, perfect workouts, perfect meals, right? Perfect relationships, all things perfect. And so, number one, I want you to write down that we're shifting from perfection to progress in order to see results. And it really is a small shift, right? Because what happens when we get caught up in perfection is we get stuck. When all we see is the highlight reels and I have to do it just right, we get overwhelmed before we can even start. And so we put it off. And hey, at worst case, we mess up and then we quit. And that's where some of us are even tonight, right? Even today, where maybe we didn't see the exact progress that we thought we should have by now, right? That our our scrolling social media says that we should be further along in our goals 5 weeks into the year, right? And so we get discouraged and we quit, we stop showing up, we lose our momentum. It's one of the biggest traps that we can fall into is social media. And here's the thing about that, before we go a little bit deeper on that one, is you don't see the messy. We all have messy. They're only showing you the results. They're not seeing the messy. You're not seeing the, 5 o'clock mornings, or for me, 4:12 a.m. You don't see the tears, right? Because those are there too. Okay. You're just seeing the highlight reel. So stop comparing yourself, because we want to move from perfection to progress. The other way that we get caught up comparing ourselves is to our old selves. Anyone else see that? Where we get caught up thinking about who we once were, how we once looked, where we used to be, our younger days, our thinner days, our more active days, whatever it might be for you. Listen, we got to stop comparing who you are today to where you once were, right? And I'm just as guilty. Let's be real. I am not. I was in the best shape of my life 8-9 years ago. That is not where I am today, right? And even 3 years ago, I was thinner, more fit, if you will. 3 years ago, y'all. We need to stop. And if I were to allow myself, which I have, let's be real, to keep thinking about, oh man, I used to run a faster 5K. I used to run half marathons. Now I'm running, no more than 3 miles. Oh, I used to do CrossFit, right? Whatever it is. And those comparing ourselves either to others or to who we used to be, it's not serving you, because it's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you from taking the small steps forward, ultimately. So we're going to move from perfection to progress by stop comparing. So action number 1, I want you to write down how you're going to move from perfection to progress. Right? So I want you to think of one small, imperfect step that you can take today to move forward. Maybe it's a healthier option for lunch. Maybe it's saying, I'll start tomorrow. I'm not going to wait until Monday, right? Did anyone else get caught up in that? Oh, I'll wait until Monday. Oh, I'll wait until after that event, right? We get caught up in that. But what's small? Imperfect, right? We're not looking for perfection. It's going to get messy. There's going to be days where you don't get it right. There's days I don't get it right. Right? So let's be real about that. I want you to write one thing down that you can take imperfect action on starting now. Got it? That's number one. Number two is the power of one thing. How many of us try to do all the things all at once? And social media is not good for this either, quite frankly, right? Or not even social media alone. It's the books that we read, it's the conversations we have. We hear, oh, yep, we got to drink salt water with lemon in the morning. Yep, we're going to have to meal prep. We got to work out 6 days, and 3 of those days have to be strength training, and 3 of those have to be cardio, right? We got to do all the things. Oh, we have to get 7 hours of sleep. Otherwise, you're not going to get to your goal. You have to do all of these things, X, Y, and Z. It's a long running list. Anyone else get overwhelmed by that? And what happens, right, is day one, you show up, you're motivated, you're hyped. Oh yeah, this is gonna be my answer for me to get to the result. Day two, you're still staying strong, you're still showing up, doing it. By day 3, you're burnt out. You might not realize it as burnout just yet, but what happens is all of a sudden you sleep in a little later. All of a sudden your coworkers invite you to happy hour, and maybe on day 1 and 2 you probably wouldn't have, but day 3 you're overwhelmed by it all. It's hard to keep up with. So I want you to pick just one thing, because the key to success is starting with one thing. When you focus on one thing at a time, you build momentum, and you can feel what success feels like. It keeps you moving, and it feels more achievable. So I want you to pick one thing, just one, to get the ball rolling. Hey, and it doesn't have to be big or crazy. It can be simple. It might be in your mind. It might be, hey, and it doesn't have to, let me clarify, it doesn't have to be one per category. Like, oh, I have to eat no meat. I have to do strength training only. Not one per category, one thing, y'all. I want you to pick one thing. So that might be, and hey, make it doable for you. Really and truly, it has to be something that fits into your lifestyle if you're going to stick with it. This is all about keeping it simple, sexy. Hey. Right? And so instead of, if you're working out 1 day a week on average right now, or 3 days a week, please don't go all in and say, I'm going to work out 6 days for an hour every day. That's not realistic. Think about and be honest with yourself, right? That's half the battle, is being honest with ourselves. Think about how you've been showing up, right? The last week or two, even. How have you been showing up with consistency? And then set that one thing that you're choosing around that. It might be 3 days. It might be to say, I'm not eating out all of January or February. I'm doing a whole no spend month. Whatever it is, make it realistic, right? We want you to show up and stay consistent and build that momentum. Get that ball rolling. And hey, when you're writing down this one thing, extra bonus points if it ties into the first one. So you might say, hey, instead of eating out the rest of the week, I'm going to pack my lunch. And hey, instead of waiting until Monday, I'm going to start tomorrow, because I maybe already messed up and ate out yesterday or today. And I thought, oh, I'll just restart on Monday. Nope. Number 1 says you're going to start now. Number 2 says, hey, I'm going to not eat out on Friday, right? Or whatever is relevant to you the rest of the week, etc. Make it doable for you. The idea behind this one is the power of one thing is starting small, conquering it, and building on it. The key to consistency, right? Fair? Good? Awesome. And I know that you guys are taking some time tonight to meet with me. So that tells me that you have all the time in the world, right? Yeah, you have extra time. You have time to cook dinner every night. Hey, and you have so much time on your hands that you are doing 2 workouts a day, right? That's the case? You guys have, I mean, we all got plenty of time, right? Negative. None of us have time. So we're just gonna, we're all overloaded, overwhelmed, overbooked. Well, because I think some of us are saying yes to things that we don't even want to do. But hey, that's a story that's a topic for a whole nother day that we're not going to dive into today. But the point is that we are all overworked, overbooked, overwhelmed at that, right? And so we are going to talk about the power of routine because we don't have time. We need a routine. We need our brains to work for us with the least amount of effort as possible. Now that we're all on the same playing field, that we're short on time, so we're not going to use that excuse. None of it. I've never heard anyone say, actually, I think about it, I've never heard anyone say, like, oh, yeah, I just have so much extra time. I don't know what to do with it. And if that's you, please let me know what you're doing in your life because I would love some of that. But so we know that consistency, we just said consistency is key. And I think, collectively, I think we can all agree that consistency is key. But let's be real, creating a new habit can feel like climbing a mountain. So when we think about, the power of a routine, number 3, and we think about creating a new habit, it's overwhelming. We don't have the time to create a new habit, right? We don't even have the time to manage our lives. It can feel like that top of the mountain is never going to be available to us. The secret to overcoming that concept is habit stacking. That's a relatively, familiar term potentially to you. But if you haven't heard of habit stacking, basically the concept is very simple. It's taking a new habit and attaching it or stacking it to a habit that you're already doing regularly. Okay. So it's basically tricking your brain into thinking it's no big deal, right? The idea is if you think about even how our brains work, right? You take the same route to work every single day. Eventually, it comes second nature. When I go to the trail in the morning, it's like autopilot. I'm just driving there, no GPS. I'm just driving there. My brain is conditioned. Our brains want to find the least challenging route, right? Across the board, whether that's the route to work or to get a thing done. That's why habit stacking is so impactful, right? So one way, and it's interesting because as I was kind of preparing for tonight and thinking about, how all of this plays in my life, right? Because these are all things that I implement in my own life. I don't always get it right. That's why perfection over progress is, perfection towards progress, right? Is where we're a big thing because I get caught up in it too. But when I was thinking about habit stacking, I didn't even realize it because I've been doing it so long. But every single morning, it never fails. There's not a morning where I don't do this, and it's become autopilot for me. I wake up, my alarm goes off, I hit off the alarm, I grab my water bottle, and I drink 32 ounces of water before my feet even hit the ground every single morning. It literally, I don't think about it. My brain has no work to do because it says, okay, we shut off the alarm. Okay, now we drink water. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think, oh, I should drink some water and oh yeah, I should get up and do my workout. It comes naturally. So I want you to think about some ways in your life where you can apply this habit stacking concept. I'm going to give you a few examples to get your brain a jogging, if you will, but that might look like water for you, right? It might look like, hey, it doesn't have to be 32 ounces, right? It could be 8 ounces. But hey, you turn off the alarm or you get out of bed, you wash your face. Maybe that's when you drink your water, whatever it is, you're applying that habit. Maybe you're a coffee drinker, right? And so as you drink your coffee in the morning, maybe immediately after or even during, you're doing 10 minutes of stretching instead of scrolling your phone. It doesn't need to be big, elaborate plans. It doesn't need to be, oh, I got to drink a gallon of water while I'm sitting in my bed. It's going to take forever. Oh, it doesn't mean I have to do a 30-minute workout while I'm sipping my coffee. No, 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 no. We're keeping it simple here, right? So I want you to take a habit. Hey, you might cook dinner every single night, right? That might be something that you do regularly. Hey, if you got the newsletter Dose of Sexy, you know that for this month we're focused on planks. So while your vegetables are roasting or your salmon's in the air fryer, you're cooking dinner, can you drop down and give me a minute of planks? Can you do some squats while you're cooking dinner? If you're cooking dinner on the regular and you say, okay, every time I'm cooking dinner, I got to do 50 squats or 10 squats. Don't overthink it, y'all. We're not doing that. Make it actionable for you. It's habit stacking. Maybe that looks like you go to the office 3 days a week. Maybe you automatically go for a walk on your lunch while you're in the office. Right? Time is something you already do. Hey, I'm going to be in the office. I have a lunch break. Every time I'm in the office, on my lunch, I go for a walk or to the gym or whatever it is. Picking something. I've even heard people say every time they go to the bathroom, into the bathroom, they do squats or they do push-ups or whatever. That's a little much for me, okay? I drink a gallon of water a day, so I'm not trying to do all that. We want to keep it simple. So something that works in your lifestyle. So I want you to think of one thing that you already do every day and pick one small habit that you can stack into it. Fair? And you already know what's coming, hopefully, if you've been paying attention. Bonus points if you are pulling 1 and 2 into it, right? So what that might look like is, hey, instead of starting on Monday, I'm going to start now by, instead of pressing snooze on my alarm button, when I hit my alarm off, I'm going to get up and I'm automatically going to do 10 minutes of stretching or water or whatever it is. Whatever your number 2 habit is, that's what you can roll into number 3 to habit stack. Doesn't have to be, just trying to keep it simple for you, right? Hopefully that made sense. Good? Set, go? Yeah, we're keeping it simple. Last but not least, hopefully you have what your thing is, right? Through 1, 2, and 3, when you're going to start, whatever it is, the imperfect action that's been keeping you from showing up, maybe even the rest of this week. And then the small habit that you want to implant, the one thing, and then where your habit stacking it, right? One thing that you're doing regularly, and you're stacking that one thing right on top of it. And last but not least, y'all, you cannot do this thing alone. If you want to accomplish your goals, any goal in life for that matter, you have to have an accountability buddy. Straight up. There's no way around it. You cannot do this alone. If you want to get whether it's your partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's a group, which got you covered there. Really and truly. So a study was done by the American Society of Training and Development that showed that 65%, that you were 65% more likely to accomplish your goals when you did it together in community. Y'all, 65%, that's like giving me an automatic increase of 65% likelihood that I'm going to accomplish my goals. No brainer, done and done. Where do I find the people? Hello. Got you covered. But really, grab a friend or an accountability. Also, we just launched our new Too Sexy WhatsApp community where we share the good, the bad, and ugly is the easy way to sum it up. Recipes, you get recipe ideas, share it, accountability for when you're working out and showing up. We just launched it, so it's exciting. If you want to be a part of that, you'll get an email to be able to join via the link, but that is fresh and new. So if you are looking for a community in a safe place to share your journey, it is a co-ed group and you are more than welcome and we'd love to have you. It is a safe space where really and truly it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because we already said there's going to be days where it's you got that momentum going and it's going to be great and you're going to feel great. And then there's going to be days where you don't want to. When you are going to fight, kicking and screaming to get to the trail or to cook at home instead of eating out. Whatever it is, right? There will be times where you just don't want to, and you cannot let yourself in that space alone. Because more times than not, I'm not going to say always, but more times than not, you'll give in. But when you have community, we get to cheer you on. And I'm going to go ahead and debunk this myth. I don't know if you've ever said this to yourself, but I bet you probably have. An excuse at its best, because that's what our brains do. You might have said, oh, I don't want to be a bother to anyone, right? I'm going to go ahead and debunk that. You're not bothering anyone. You're inviting people to your journey, and likely people that love you or at minimum want to see you win and cheer you on. And that's the thing about people. People love cheering each other on. And to be honest, when you are inviting somebody into your journey and sharing your journey, you're likely motivating them as well. Even tonight, right? Let me be real and say, chatting with you guys is motivation for me. It's motivating to share this stuff, my own journey. Listen, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have my best run yet in the morning, okay? I appreciate y'all. But for this action item, number 4, we're wrapping it up. I want you to think about either somebody, probably they already came to mind, I'm sure. Either think about who you're going to enlist as your accountability, find a group. Hopefully it is the Too Sexy community, and write it down. Share it with us if you'd like to, but definitely you cannot do this alone if you want to accomplish your goals. And 65% increase likelihood, done and done. You need that. Okay, we need that. It's like, what do they say, girl math? Like a no-brainer. Let's go. Okay, so let's recap. We've chatted about simple, right? I said right from the beginning that these were going to be simple reminders or shifts for you to implement now. We're not complicating anything. Nobody's got time to complicate it. We want long haul results. We want lifelong habits, right? And so we've talked about moving from perfection to progress, right? Getting out of this imperfect comparison mindset. We've talked about the power of choosing just one thing, the power of a routine and habit stacking. And hopefully you've had now an action. And last but not least, you're not going to do it alone. So what I would like for you to do is number 3, you came up with your action, right? What you're going to do, your habit stack. And I want you to share that with your accountability, whether that's a friend, family member, a neighbor, a coworker, or the Too Sexy community. I want you to share that as your very last action item. So you're going to pick an accountability buddy or a community, and you're going to share your number 3. How you're going to show up for yourself in these small actions, in these simple steps. So it's not about being perfect or doing everything all at once, right? It's about showing up even on the messy days, building momentum, one habit, one step at a time. We're not waiting for everything to be perfect. We're starting today, and we're starting small. And you'll get to see how those small actions, seemingly small actions, add up to massive results. It's time to stop waiting on perfect, right? Perfect doesn't come, that perfect moment, the perfect day. There's going to be events, there's going to be all the things. We want to start creating progress now. So you have that. And if you want some additional support and you're ready to take it to the next level, Conquer 30 is here to help you do just that. Build in and dive into those small habits. Ultimately, what it is the 10-day jump start that is live and ready for you. 10 days, 2 weeks, Monday through Friday. And the concept of Conquer 30 is just showing up 30 minutes a day. We all said we don't have extra time. 30 minutes in the morning walking with me And what we're really doing is building those habits. We'll habit stack over those 10 days. So by the end of the 10 days, you have a routine that is healthy, that's setting you up for success, that incorporates these small habits. 10 days, 30 minutes. And let me tell you, you got 30 minutes because you deserve that. You owe it to yourself to spend 30 minutes setting your day up to success for success, right? It is simple, but if you want to participate in that, definitely I will send out an email after this, and you'll have the link for the Too Sexy community and Conquer 30 if you want to participate. And most importantly, no overthinking any of this, y'all, right? That's the idea, right? It's not overthinking, it's making it simple. So, like I said, we'll send out an email. Thank you so much, y'all, for spending some time with me tonight. And remember, ultimately, small steps create massive change. You've got this. Keep showing up for you in these small ways. And I can't wait to see the amazing progress that you make. Until next time, stay focused, stay consistent, and keep it simple, sexy.